The Golden State Warriors are breaking the rules and the NBA hates it. As you all know, the Golden State Warriors defy the odds and actually clinched a playoff spot after their most recent win against the Utah Jazz 110-118. In today's video, we're going to be going through 5 key players that helped the Golden State Warriors clinch this playoff spot against the Utah Jazz. Now these 5 players are also going to help them not just in the playoffs, but hopefully help them win another NBA championship. So make sure to like this video, and guys, 92% of you are still not subscribed to the channel, so it'd mean the world if you could subscribe to the channel, hitting that red button down below. The first is that Klay Thompson carried in the scoring department. Now as you all know, Klay Thompson has had a bit of a rocky season. He's had some great games and he's also had some very poor games, but with Stephen Curry out for this matchup, he was able to do a fantastic job and drop 32 points. He also went 12 from 23 from the field, which I thought was amazing, and on top of that, he also went 6 from 13 from the 3-point line as well. So he was absolutely scoring lights out, but the way he was scoring was also prime Klay Thompson that we love to see. He wasn't doing anything fancy. He was getting his shots off, whether it was spot up, one off dribbles, or even a couple of fades here and there. But when it comes to Klay Thompson's game, he has the capability to be able to score on the dime and also off the dribble, and I think Klay is starting to find his way more and more as we get closer into the play-ins and also the playoffs. When it comes to his other stats, he also had himself 4 assists, which was great, and also 5 rebounds and 1 steal. So he did a fantastic job all around when it came to not just scoring, but also dishing out dimes and also grabbing boards. But when it comes to Klay Thompson in general, I do believe this game definitely is a good stepping stone for the future, especially when it comes to the rest of this season. It is very evident that if Klay Thompson wants an opportunity to help this Golden State Warriors team win another NBA championship, Klay Thompson definitely needs to play like he did in this matchup. Now, although he is a great scorer, he's also a pretty good defender as well, and they are going to need him on both sides of the floor. But I do believe that Klay Thompson is an integral part to this team, and he has to continue to be the right-hand man or the second greatest shooter in this team alongside Stephen Curry. That is definitely where they perform the best. If Klay's hitting shots and if Steph's hitting shots, I really don't see any other team beating them in a 7-game series. Like we mentioned before, they have clinched a playoff spot, which is including the play-ins, which I think is fantastic. And if they do want a great opportunity, Klay Thompson needs to be able to do this on a night basis. So when it comes to Klay, played great against Utah Jazz, and he was able to find his way on how he is going to be a very integral part for this team in this playoff run. The second is Jonathan Kuminga played a great 6-man role. Now, I'm not really sure why Jonathan Kuminga came off the bench in this game, but Trayce Jackson-Davis actually did end up starting, and with Jonathan Kuminga coming off the bench, he also still showed out why he is a big player for this team. He had himself 21 points, 10 rebounds, and also 4 assists, which I thought was great, and also had himself 1 monster block. But if we also look at the efficiency that he was shooting at, that is where it honestly gets a little bit crazy. He went 9 from 11 from the field in total, which is honestly insane, and also went 1 from 2 from the 3-point line and went perfect from the free throw line. So not only did Jonathan Kuminga be the second highest scorer for this team, but he did it on an insane efficient basis, which I definitely does show a lot of telltale signs that Jonathan Kuminga is the real deal, and he is going to be a huge player for this team in this playoff run. When it comes to Kuminga, what really does make him special is not just his ability to score, but his ability to do it at an efficient rate, which I think is honestly great. When you have someone like Steph in your team, you're not going to be getting 10, 15, 20 shots every single game. It's definitely going to be here and there. The fact that Kuminga was able to convert 9 from 11 without Steph Curry, but I still will believe that when it comes to Kuminga's efficiency out there, it is going to be huge, and that's why people do see him as a superstar one day. Kuminga is still a very young player, but the fact that he does stand at 6'8", probably around 6'9" with shoes on, I do believe he's going to have great matchups against bigger players, which Golden State Warriors have struggled with in the past. But now that Kuminga is out there more often, I don't think any team will be able to outbully or outheight this Golden State Warriors roster very easily. So because of Kuminga, I do believe when it comes playoff time, we probably will see him back in the starting lineup. I think TJD was definitely given a couple more minutes just to kind of get him in the field as they are starting to get closer into those playoff games. But Kuminga coming off the bench, coming off as a starter, I think is going to be fantastic for this team, especially in this deep playoff run that they plan to make. The third is that Brandin Podziemski stepped up up when he needed to. Now, I do believe Brandin Podziemski is such a big player, as he does get quite a lot of minutes for this Golden State Warriors team. For the last couple of games, they have been on a great win cycle, and when it comes to these wins, we definitely do see Brandin Podziemski always to be in the top 3 when it comes to minutes played. And it's due to the fact that he does play such great defense, but in this matchup, he was able to show a little bit of everything, as Stephen Curry was out, and he did actually have almost the second most minutes in this team. Now, he had 31 minutes in total, and in those 31 minutes, he was able to get 16 points, 6 assists, and also 7 rebounds. He is literally Draymond Green 2.0 when it comes to putting stats on the board in all facets, and he also went 6 from 10 from the field, so a 60% field goal percentage, which was great, and went 50% from the 3-point line, where he went 2 from 4. And I think Brandin Podziemski has always been a very big potential player, but he is starting to already make tall signs that he is going to be something special right here, right now, and he is going to be an integral part of this team when it comes to this playoff run. Now, when it comes to Brandin Podziemski, the fact that he is capable of doing this as a rookie, I think is probably the most surprising thing, and one of the reasons why he's such a fan favorite amongst Golden State Warrior fans. When it comes to Podziemski in general, I think what he really does well is his aggression and his hustle out there on the floor. He really does push the boundaries when it comes to giving it everything he's got, and you definitely see him put his heart on the line every single game. He also had the second highest box plus minus score at plus 17, which definitely shows his effectiveness out there and the amount of minutes that he also plays as well. But I do believe and expect that Brandin Podziemski is going to get a similar amount of minutes when it comes playoff time. We probably will see him a lot during the playoffs, as he does provide that defense that the Golden State Warriors desperately need. The fourth is that Chris Paul did a great replacement for the point guard position for Stephen Curry. Now, when it comes to CP3, as we all know, he is an ex-NBA All-Star, great superstar, and I do believe, although he is getting older, he's still definitely giving this game his everything and really providing a lot for this Warriors team. And when it comes to CP3 in this matchup, he actually had himself 12 points, 9 assists, 1 rebound, but also 4 steals and 1 block. And I think this is surprising to see, but CP3's got great defense and a lot of people do not recognize it. When it comes to his also a field goal percentage, he also went 50% from the field, went 5 from 10, which was great, and also went 2 from 6 from the 3-point line, which is not too bad. Now, when it comes to CP3, he may not be a scorer, but his direction out there for the team was definitely noticed, and you can definitely see he did add a lot more structure to this roster and to this team ever since joining this team. Now, when it comes to Warriors, they did only win by 8 points, but there were a lot of times they were up by quite a lot, up to 15 at times, and I think it was great to see that CP3 was able to really control the offense as much as he could, and he did a fantastic job with that as well. So when Steph does return, whether it's during playoff time or before the end of this season, we do believe that CP3 will be moved to the bench, but I do believe the lineup in the bench is just as good as the starters. You have Podziemski coming off the bench, Trayce Jackson-Davis, CP3 himself, Jonathan Kuminga, who will probably move to the starting lineup but may come off the bench as well. We also have Kevon Looney still, Gui Santos, Gary Payton II, Moses Moody. The list really does go on, and I do believe that the second unit is a very deep second unit, and they need a leader, and I think CP3 can definitely be that guy for them. So although CP3 is getting older, I really do believe that CP3 is still an integral part to this team, and the leadership that he definitely brings and the structure of offense that he brings is very beneficial. There are also a lot of clips going out online of CP3 telling these younger guys certain tips and being that veteran that they desperately need, and I do believe that is a huge integral reason why they've kept him even during the trade deadline earlier this season, as he was on the trading block. So he will definitely be beneficial, and I definitely will see a lot more from him as a Warriors fan as well. The fifth is that Trayce Jackson-Davis is accepting his role as a starter or even a role player. Now, Trayce Jackson-Davis has had a very interesting season, and I do feel sorry for him at times, because Trayce Jackson-Davis has gone from being a starting power forward, getting 32 minutes per game, all the way down to midway through the season only getting 10 or 8 minutes per game as well. So he's definitely felt both sides of the coin, and because of that, Trayce Jackson-Davis has had definitely a lot of changing to do, whether it's only him getting 8 minutes versus when he's getting 32 minutes. But now he is finding himself in the starting lineup or even in that 6-man role, which I think he definitely deserves. When it comes to Trayce Jackson-Davis, he did get 23 minutes in this matchup, but he also had 16 points and also 7 rebounds, but had himself a monster 4 blocks as well. So this was honestly insane to see, because Trayce Jackson-Davis was a defensive juggernaut in this matchup, and I do believe with his height and stature, he will be able to be a great defensive juggernaut for this team, especially against bigger guys. Now, as we all know, the play-ins are close to happening, and a lot of people want that Lakers and Golden State Warriors matchup to happen. Before, in the past, Lakers have definitely gotten the better of Warriors, but that's due to the fact that the Lakers tend to run a big lineup, especially against a team like the Golden State Warriors, who are one of the shortest teams in the NBA. Now, it definitely has changed with Jonathan Kuminga and Trayce Jackson-Davis now a part of this team, that they have defensive juggernauts, they have defensive anchors in that paint who are being able to block, swat, or, you know, reject those shots wherever they go. So the fact that he was able to get 4 blocks in this matchup and also drop 16 points, he's definitely a two-way player, and we all know how much Steve Kerr and also Warriors fans love two-way players, especially with a team that has the 2 greatest shooters alive.